So you're a baddie who wants to manifest your dream life, but you feel like nothing is really working and you have no clue where to start, where to begin, and you're actually tired of feeling like the advice out on social media is not giving you what they need to give, and now you're ready to just like rip off the band-aid and try something out, even if it means that it needs to take you out of your comfort zone. Then you've come to the right place, because today we're talking about how to use specific laws from the 48 laws of power to truly step into your growth glow up era as a baddie. And as I said, these are not here to make you comfortable and sit and feel happy in your own little castle. In order for you to grow and become the baddie that you deserve to be, sometimes you need to feel a little uncomfortable to truly get to the level that you want to be. So if you're not someone who wishes to be a little strategic, and if you're someone who gets easily offended, I would kindly ask you to click away or continue watching at your own risk, because you might get a little triggered. And I would feel very happy if you would comment that you would get a little triggered in the comment section. It would boost my video. Absolutely love you. Anyways, the first law of power that every woman who's wanting to be a baddie needs to embody is avoid the unlucky and the unhappy. And this is a law that I see so many baddies fail at, which is why I bring it up as the first one. When you're a baddie, especially a baddie that's been an overcompensator, an oversharer, someone who's a people pleaser, someone who's a perfectionist, you cannot be hanging around people that are negative. You cannot hanging around people that are constantly talking about everything they got going on that's bad. Someone who's the only thing they can talk about is, oh, the weather's bad today, or when the sun is out, they'll talk about how the sun is burning them, and when it's raining, they're like, I hate rain. They can only focus on the negative. I say this with grace and with kindness. Not really. I don't care about grace and kindness in these videos, honestly. If you hang around people that are negative or people that have a victim complex, you will develop that negativity yourself. One, either because you will just start emulating the patterns of the people around you. Yes, the people around you are going to influence how you show up, even if you think you're all that. Or you will end up getting a victim complex because you feel like it is your duty as a people pleaser, as an overcompensator, to help them out and make them feel better. Because what you're going to do is that you're going to make it seem like, oh, it's right, they're right. This is also something that men have a tendency to do, which is also why you cannot be around unhappy men, especially. Like, one thing is helping out your friend who's having a bad week because, you know, something went wrong. That's different. But being around men that are unhappy and feel like they're unlucky and everything is going against them, girl, red flag, run far away right now. These men will turn you resentful, and they will make you have a victim complex because you felt like they were a victim. They were convincing you that they're the victim, and now you feel like you need to save them. What happens when you're trying to save them? Well, you know what? They're going to try to reel you in to help them, build them, and you feel like you're giving them something out of the kindness of your heart. And in reality, you're literally just draining your own energy because they know that you're gonna let them. And that's how you develop a victim complex yourself. And then you're wondering, oh my God, why am I so sad? And like, everything is always going against me. No, it's because you do not have strong enough boundaries around people that are unhappy. And this leads me to the second law of power that all baddies that truly want better in their life need to master, which is use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. And I'm not saying that the unhappy and unlucky people are your victim, but if you truly want to get ahead and not be left behind with the people that are unhappy and unlucky, sometimes you need to learn how to lie, and you need to be selective with your honesty and not be telling all of these people how you feel, what you've been through, because you feel like now we can relate to each other. One of the most important red flags that I've picked up on as a woman throughout my years is that women will try to make you see them as some little birdie, and men too, but women will also do this. And it's something that we women have a tendency to catch on to, thinking that we need to help them out. We don't catch on to it as like, oh, this is bad. We think, oh, here's someone I can help. And women are great at catching people, especially vulnerable other women, and making them feel bad for them. And in instances like this, when you are around negative, unhappy people, what you need to do is you need to be very honest about things that might not necessarily be true, so that these people clock that you're not someone they can mess with. Whether this is you literally being like, you know what, I got something I need to go do, or letting people in on flaws that you do not have or you do not see yourself having, just to make people reveal what they got going up in their head, so that you can exit the situation if they reveal something about themselves that is truly something that you need to stay far away from. And you might say, you're not a girl's girl because you're saying that other women do this too. Yeah. Just because you are healed or you're working on your growth does not mean that every woman is interested in doing that. That does not mean you're not a girl's girl for clocking that. That does not mean you're not a girl's girl for understanding that you need to exit to protect your own energy, because you will be way less of a girl's girl if you do not protect your own energy, if you let yourself be literally crushed by women that have not worked on themselves too. Because most likely when you're around women that haven't worked on themselves, what they're going to do is that they're going to bring you into environments with men that definitely don't think that working on themselves is something they need to ever do. And this is where you will literally be put in a corner. You will be cornered and you will have such a hard time getting back to where you were before. So this is not on some, oh, you're not a girl's girl. No. Being a girl's girl has nothing to do with clocking that there are going to be some women that are just not going to be someone that you can hang around. And this is something that I think is very important to be aware of, especially if you're a neurodivergent girly. Me, a neurodivergent girly myself, have had experiences where I felt like I needed to be around neurodivergents and hype them up because we are alike. Oh, we associate with each other. And that is extremely detrimental, because just because you're willing to work on yourself, as I said before, does not mean that they're going to be willing to do the same. And because you think that because you're both neurodivergent or whatever, that means that you need to be in proximity to them, you will literally set yourself up for failure in a lot of ways. That does not mean that there aren't women, neurodivergents, men, for that matter, out there that are great. But if you are a people pleaser, if you are an overcompensator, if you are someone who is trying to become the baddest version of yourself, a baddie, then you need to clock that, because it will set you back immensely. Law number 21, which is the next law we're going to talk about, is play dumb. Play dumb. Seem dumber than you think. And a lot of the baddies out there are smart baddies. But I will also say that a smart baddie also knows that there are areas of life, there are instances in your life where the best thing you can do for yourself is to play dumb, because sometimes revealing that you're smart is actually the stupidest thing that you can do. And I hear a lot, especially from other neurodivergents I've had in my comment section in other videos, that they say that, well, I can't dumb myself down. I don't want to dumb myself down for this society. I don't want to hide myself. And I'm not telling you to hide yourself. I'm just telling you that you need to know when to play dumb. And you need to also be comfortable knowing that you're smart by yourself, not proving to everyone how smart you are, because that's exactly how you get played, especially as a beautiful woman. I've had that happen to myself. I used to be the know-it-all. I literally won an award for this year's know-it-all. And I am a smart person. I will say that about myself. But in certain situations, the best thing you can do is to play dumb, to reveal what other people think, because they will literally let their guard down if they think you're just a beautiful, stupid woman. And I'm not saying you're stupid, but the smartest thing you can do is know that you're smart. You know that you're smart, right? But they think you're stupid, so they underestimate you. That's how you truly rise. That's how you truly become the version of yourself that you deserve to be. Because people won't catch you because they don't think you're a threat, so they don't pay attention to you. And this is something that a lot of I want to be smart and I want to show to everyone that I'm smart girls end up getting played because they do. Because your eagerness to prove to everyone that you're very smart is going to make people see you as a threat. It's going to make people corner you, and it's going to make people draw you back down, especially when you're talking to the unhappy and the unlucky people, because they're going to be like, you got something going on? Well, you're not going to have that much going on for you much longer, because I'm going to find some weak point and I'm going to draw you down. And that's why it's better to play dumb, play a little ditzy, be a little ditzy, and live a life where people can go and figure out whatever they want to figure out, and you can live in peace. The next law that I think is absolutely important for baddies to master is win through actions, never through argument. If you are someone who is chronically online, you will have clocked a specific online drama between a specific woman who is very big on social media for doing self-help content and a specific man who was unfaithful to her. I do not believe in bringing up names because I do not believe that that man deserves to be named, but I will say one thing. When you are a woman and you get played, when you are a baddie and people try to play you, the best thing you can do is to exit. It's not argue. Because the thing that society and especially men, and I can make a whole video about that, the thing that men really like is that they like their energy. They like your energy. They like women's energy so much that they couldn't care less whether the energy is good or bad. So the thing you need to do here is that you need to show up for yourself, which means you need to show action in moving along, moving out, doing whatever you need to do, getting out of the way to make it clear that you are not staying. Because no argument, no bringing up that someone did you wrong, this person did that, going back, explaining to your friend, explaining to your ex, explaining to your mom, writing a whole paragraph, that will never, ever make you grow. You think it's gonna make you grow, but it's actually just a borrowed sense of control that you think now you're controlling the situation, now you have the upper hand, but in reality, you have given all of your energy into this, and this makes it so much easier for the people around you that are naysayers, that are negative, that are bad, to harvest your energy because you're letting them. You're saying, I am open to argue, and they're gonna be like, oh, bet you're open to argue? Here, argument, argument, argument. Until you're so tired that you're wondering, why am I the victim? I'm the victim here. They shouldn't have done this. They spun this up. No, you let this go to your head. You spun this up yourself. And there's definitely nothing wrong with saying, you know what? I don't appreciate your behavior. I will not let this slide. Being honest about that, because that's honesty, but that is way different than arguing. Arguing is what I've seen people on social media do the past couple days ever since this thing happened on social media, is taking this man who was unfaithful, making memes about him, talking about him, photoshopping pictures of him, digging up old YouTube content about him, this and that, writing long things about him. This is not learning a lesson from a situation and taking action. That's arguing. And that man does not care. Men in general, a lot of people in general, negative people, they feed off of that energy because at that energy, it literally confirms their reality. So they're going to try to keep that energy around, which is why you are going to be stuck. You're not going to be able to grow because you need to be able to starve your need for trying to fix a situation. Oh, wow, you shouldn't be fixing the situation. Well, we're not going to let it fly. As I said before, there's a big difference between learning a lesson, walking away saying that's not going to happen again, and then feeding into it, hoping that that's going to change something. It's not. The only thing you need to change is you, and you need to trust that without arguing, without making memes about a guy, without this and this and that, you will find peace, because you need to choose peace over being the one who has the height of the argument, that you're the one who has the right side on the argument and you're the one who won the argument. The men want you to feel like, oh yeah, I want to show you that I'm winning, so that they get you. And that's how negative people are in general. They want to feel like they want you to feel like you're winning so that you continue arguing. Next one is use absence to increase respect and honor. If you're a baddie and you have been underestimated, you've been overlooked, whatever it is that you think that's happened to you, you need to clock that if you're constantly showing up talking about how everything has gone wrong and blah, 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 and you're showing up trying to prove that now you've changed, you haven't changed. You're still looking for validation. You're still looking for people to validate your existence, and you're still looking for some type of gratification that you cannot give yourself. You think you've grown, but you're still looking for gratification, okay? So what you need to do is that you need to become more absent from people in your life that are negative or who you feel like you need to prove that you grew. The thing you're going to find when you become more absent is, first and foremost, you're going to become more nervous, more anxious, because the things that you are used to feeding into, the energy that you're used to, getting from people, you like sharing with them everything you got going on, is going to be depleted. So you're going to feel extremely like, oh, where am I going to get my energy? Where am I going to get my reserve from? It's from yourself. The second thing you're going to feel is, well, now where do I direct my energy? Because now you are sitting with all of this energy that you're used to expanding on other people. And when you start pouring that energy into yourself, the one day when you do step out and you do meet up with whoever people that you used to hang around and that you now been taking an absence from, these people will see how much you've magnetized yourself. And if you've worked enough on yourself in the meantime, when you've been absent and putting the energy into yourself instead of putting it onto others because you're scared to hold that energy, what will happen is that you will literally quantum leap into the destiny of the person that you're supposed to be, that you're trying to become. Because now, whatever they say, whatever they think you are, you're going to realize, oh, that validation that I thought I needed from them, I didn't really need. I actually just need myself. And you're going to have an energetic shield around you. And the growth that you're going to be experiencing is going to be much greater because you're willing to walk up the mountain alone. When you walk up the mountain alone, you don't have no baggage, right? So it's going to be easier, but eventually you're going to get to a point where you can't see people at the foot of the mountain, and it's going to feel really daunting, but it's also going to be really refreshing when you continue going, because now it is your journey, it is for you. And when you actually increase your absence and you stay more by yourself, you will realize, okay, well, this is all for me. It's not for me to prove to anyone what I'm doing. It's actually for me. And that is the lesson that you need to learn. That's the lesson we learn from being more by ourselves. Not that we need to be by ourselves constantly, but because it is so healthy to learn that what you're doing is for yourself. It's not for others. So with having said this, you actually end up honoring and respecting yourself more, which is what it says, use absence to increase respect and honor. Other people will respect and honor you more because you prioritize yourself, but you'll also end up respecting and honoring yourself way more. And that is actually the power move here. The next one is enter action with boldness. And I think this one is the most important one when you've actually taken the time to work on yourself, is do not be afraid to be bold. And I do not mean that you need to go out there and shout profanity at people and whatever. That is just provocation. That's not being bold. Being bold is taking a leap of faith on yourself and actually making yourself a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that you're trying out something that you didn't think that you were going to try. Let me give you an example, and this is a terrible example, but just came to my mind. Recently, I'm someone I've dyed my hair box dyed black for a long time, and I'm currently trying to return back to my natural color, and that feels like a bold move to me, because when you've been used to having a certain identity for a long time, or like, you know, just having a specific hair color or a specific way of dressing or whatever, then even if it is a bold style you have, I used to dress very streetwear. It didn't feel bold to me because that's what I was used to. And now, you know, I've had my black hair for a long time and now I'm switching it up. Now I'm like, ooh, this feels bold to me. It feels bold to me to change my hair color and try to change something. And that's that boldness that actually is very important to embrace that things will change and things can change, and not be too attached to how things are. Instead, being attached to being comfortable with things changing, because that boldness is something that will make you extremely magnetic as a baddie. And I'm not saying you have to go out and change your hair every day or whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. But boldness is all about, if you commit any mistakes with audacity, they're not really mistakes. People will just see them as you being the audacious self that you are. And that's why it's actually a big power move to try out new things, especially if you're someone who's afraid of that. Because when you become more audacious, then it will just become a part of your nature and people won't see it as a big thing. And then you will actually have an easier time moving through your life because you're not going to be so afraid of making mistakes, because that's just a part of you growing. One law that I also think is very important for the baddies is do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. A lot of the time, us baddies, we think, especially in today's culture where everything is like, we should all alienate each other. And I do believe that it's good for you to spend more time by yourself, but I do not believe in isolation. I do not believe that you need to isolate yourself from the world and just sit back at home on your bed and brain rot and call people names in comment sections or whatever. No. It is very important for you to get out there and see the world. And I'm not saying you need to go travel and go in debt so you could travel and see the world, but it's very important for you to become comfortable with putting yourself out there, not necessarily to interact with people, but just to be an observer rather than always the one who is talking. Because one thing that I've noticed that a lot of baddies end up being completely crushed by is because they're willing to talk and talk and talk and be bold. As I said before, being bold is absolutely amazing. But you also need to understand that if you are not someone who is out there interacting with the world will play you because you have not picked up on what the world's got going on. So what will happen is that your growth will actually not be as much of growth as you think it is, because you have actually not been out there, see how things really work. I know for a fact that if you are a beautiful woman and the only thing you do is sit at home and you listen to videos, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be listening to videos, you're here and I love you being here, there's a chance that you don't learn the skills that you're actually learning from watching these videos. The way I talk to you here in these videos usually it seems a little harsh, because I think you deserve to learn these harsh truths from someone who wants the best from you and who is not wanting to sugarcoat things. But what I do say with the whole isolation thing is that there are a lot of baddies when they apply these rules, especially when it comes to feminine energy. When they go out into the real world, they lead with that masculine tone that they see from people on social media. That, maybe the way that I'm talking to you right now, or if I say, don't be with broke men or whatever, you think that that's something that you need to, that's how you need to talk to these men. No. That's not how you actually avert the risk. And if you don't learn to actually go out and play the game, enter into the simulation of the life that we're all living, then you will also not be able to truly learn from your actions. And you will most likely end up settling, probably for a man or for friends or for situations that are not going to make you better, because you think you figured it all out by listening to videos online, from listening to people or reading self-help books. And then the first time you enter into the real world, you think now you figured it out. But what you're going to find, which I think is an important thing to learn, is that you are only just at the bottom of a new chapter, of a new beginning. When you play high school football, and I don't know anything about football, but I know this, which is a great metaphor. If you play high school football or baseball or basketball or whatever it is, maybe you're the best on your high school team, but then when you get recruited for, I don't know, the NFL, see, I'm not very good with the sports stuff, or a really good basketball team, you're probably not going to be the best player on that team, but you still made it to that team. And that's why I say, with this growth stuff, it's very important that we do not isolate ourselves with only the idea of growth. It's very important that we enter and exit out of the cave. Yes, I'm referencing the allegory of the cave. Go read the allegory of the cave. Plato's allegory of the cave. We're referencing philosophy here, yes. Because we think that everything that we've learned is just, this is how it is, and then we enter into the real world. And I'm not saying it isn't how it is, but we also need to learn from our mistakes, and we need to be willing to make mistakes so we can actually learn. And that's something that I feel that a lot of potential baddies are not willing to do, and that you could actually learn so much more from. It's kind of like you need to go, and I'm not saying every date needs to be awful, but you need to have gone on a couple awful dates to truly know what it is that you want from a good date, so that you can be very clear on what it is that you want in a man. Because if not, then you're just going to be on some, this is what I don't want, and you might end up stuck with someone who's actually not truly giving you what you want, because you haven't been given the perspective on all of the things that are actually available to you out there, because you're so afraid of failing. And instead of trying to fail, you're trying to isolate yourself so that nothing bad happens. This is also the illusion of control that I am very adamant about talking about. We humans, we need to believe in certainty. You know, when you believe in God or you believe in something, you believe in the certainty of them. But we cannot be trying to borrow control, like on some, you know what, if I try to do this and this and that, if I isolate myself, then nothing bad is going to happen. No, that's not how life works. And you actually might find yourself more miserable than you actually need to be, because you did not put yourself in a situation where you need to learn. It's kind of like when you're learning something in school and you're reading about it in a textbook, and then now you go to school and you're doing biology class. It's way different in the class than it was in the textbook. And it might be different, but not in a bad way, in a way where you actually know that next time you're going to do it differently. That's why I'm saying that this law might actually be one of the most important laws, and it might be a law that I could make a whole video about, the whole isolation principle. We cannot afford to isolate ourselves, especially as beautiful, amazing women. We cannot afford this, because it will make us have a skewed idea of what the world is. And it will also make us believe that, well, if I just try to control whatever's around me, things are going to be good. And they won't. You will miss out on so much. And the last law I'm going to be talking about in this video, let me know in the comment section, of course, if you want me to do more laws of baddie, how to actually manifest the things that you truly want as a baddie, and how to use the 48 laws of power to do that. I would love to make more videos about that. You just say the word, and whatever other videos you want me to do, also let me know. But the last law that I want to highlight today is law number 36, which is disdain things you cannot have, ignore them is the best revenge. One thing that sets us back as women a lot, and that men usually actually weaponize, is that whenever something goes wrong, or we don't want a man to do specific things, or we don't want certain things, what we do is that we put focus onto it. Oh, he did this bad, or he did this wrong, or someone did this and this and that. And we think that we're starving the power, or we're like taking out the power by highlighting that we don't like that, but we're actually feeding into the power. By acknowledging a petty problem, you give it existence and credibility. The more attention you pay an enemy, the stronger you make him. And a small mistake is often made worse and more visible when you try to fix it. It is sometimes best to leave things alone. If there's something you want but cannot have, show contempt for it. The less interest you reveal, the more superior you seem. It is very important when we baddies want more in our lives that we clock that the law of attraction is exactly this. This is the law of attraction. If we put focus on all the things that we don't want, all the things we don't like, the men that are terrible, all of this and all of that, we will not get good things. And we will actually manifest a life that is definitely gonna feel terrible. This is how we get stuck as women, especially because we feel, I'm doing everything right. I'm saying affirmations, I'm doing all of this and all of that, but no. You probably are around people or talking to people or talking about people in a way that where you're focusing on all the things that are going wrong, which is going to magnetize it. So that's the only thing you're going to see. That's what you're going to see more of, because that's what you're talking about. This is why it's very important to clock that making a life or creating your life as a baddie is kind of like when you're baking a pie. When you bake a pie, you go into the kitchen and you find the ingredients for the pie, you take them out of the cupboard, and then you start making your pie. Creating your dream life is creating the pie. When you're in the kitchen, when you open the cupboard, most likely there's going to be pepper. Do you want this pepper in your pie? No. Is the pepper gonna disappear if you start cussing it out? Is it gonna be a part of your cake if you cuss it out? No. Is it gonna make your pie be baked quicker if you cuss it out? No. Calling your mom, talking about how the pepper's in your cupboard, is that going to make the pie bake? No, you don't want the pepper in your pie. So why are you focusing on it? Why are you putting all your energy into it? that is one of the most important lessons you can learn as a baddie to truly step into your power. And with having said that, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll be back with another baddie video before you know it. Let me know in the comment section whatever you want me to do. And let's pray for my hair, by the way. Ah!